welcome everyone. We have some agents that have joined us from Century 21 One Blue down here in the Sunshine State, Orlando, Tampa. And then, of course, we invited some of our students from our real estate school, One Blue Real Estate School, to join us. And Johnny also invited some of his friends and coworkers from up in his neck of the woods to join us as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump on into it. This is going to be more of a conversation with Johnny and I going back and forth. But if you have questions, by all means, let us know. You can join the conversation. Many of you did submit questions when you registered, so we've got those questions as well ready to go. And we didn't give them to Johnny, so he's not practiced and come with some crazy. He's going to be speaking from the heart, not some script or something, right? So let's jump into it. So Johnny, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them what brokerage you're with, what company. I heard it's one of the the best brands in the world, and why you got into real estate.
Yes, guys. Hello, everybody. My name is Johnny Knight.
Can you hear me out here, Johnny?
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, because I can't hear Johnny for some reason. Hold on one sec. I'm apparently having some technical difficulties.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, my Zoom was telling my microphone to be a speaker. Sorry about that, Johnny. Go ahead.
Yep, no problem. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, everybody. Hi, my name is Johnny Knight. Here in West Virginia, Century 21 Sterling Realty. I've been in the business since July 2018 is when I got started. I had my first full year in 2019. As Kevin had mentioned, I finished number 4 in the state. And one of the biggest things is being a new agent is I was able to do this without spending any money on lead generation and just pretty much working my sphere of influence. My broker, I'm pretty sure, is on here as well. But essentially, it's like whenever you have like a good relationship with your broker, a lot of times there's no need to like really reinvent the wheel. Rather, you can kind of mirror someone else's business. And that's something I did. But just to tell you a little bit about my background, I have a background in telecommunications, also hospitality. I used to work for Sprint, and I did that for about 7 years. And one of the biggest complaints I used to get from one of my managers is that I took too long with my clients. Well, here in real estate, we can take as long as we want, and it's so much more rewarding. Real estate 101, people buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. So I always told myself that, hey, if I earn my clients' trust, I earn the right to sell to them. So essentially, that's what I kind of did. I kind of leveraged my business, and I mirrored some very fundamental people in the business, in their business practices, along with some of the information that Century 21 was able to provide. Even Kevin, I remember when I first started, I reached out to Kevin with some of his scripts and some of his training, and he would kind of use me as like a guinea pig to kind of let me look through some of the stuff as he was fine tuning it. So I'm just kind of blessed to be able to join you guys this morning. And anybody have any questions, feel free to comment them in the chat. And I'm also going to put my information for my social media. And anybody who would like to kind of copy any of my stuff or make it yours, feel free to help yourself to it.
That's the big thing I say. In real estate, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel works, right? I tell agents all the time, if you go buy a new car, do you go to the sales guy or girl and say, you know what, I love this car, and those round tires are amazing, but could you take them off and put a set of square ones on for me? We don't do that, but a lot of times in real estate, we feel that just this need to try to reinvent and do things differently. And first, get those fundamentals right, get those habits set, and then expand upon and build upon that. So I've been just impressed watching you when we joined the brand 2 years ago. And then that's about the time, you were getting going, and you were constantly on Workplace. You were leveraging that tool like crazy, building connections outside of West Virginia. So how much did that play a part in your knowledge growth and getting that education to grow in real estate?
Yeah, well, and the biggest thing people fail to realize is real estate is a relationship-based business. And it's 100% about the relationships, but it's not just the relationship with our clients, but it's the relationship with our coworkers. It's a relationship with other brokerages. Actually, I have a friend of mine, Sean Smith. He's not even with Century 21, but my relationship with him has been very instrumental as far as my growth, because essentially when it comes to multiple offers and stuff like that, your relationship with these other brokerages, it's fundamental. It makes you, as a new agent, nobody knows who you are. The biggest thing you want to do is try to establish yourself. So establishing myself on Workplace, I kind of made a splash by getting involved. A lot of times you got to step outside of your comfort zone, and you actually have to interact with others to kind of make a name for yourself, because they don't know you. So you have the opportunity to show them who you are. I know a lot of agents do open houses. Well, even if you don't actually conduct an open house, go support your local agent. That's something I do. And as a new agent, when ever there was an opportunity to go to an open house, I went for one of two reasons. I went, one, to eat, because there's always going to be food. And another reason I went was because it was an opportunity to meet other people. So that way, when I were to write an offer, they knew who I was before I even put that offer in. You're not just this random name that's on a contract. So those are things that I had did. My broker has been very fundamental in my growth, because he gave me opportunities as well. When I first started, and it's one of those things with my broker, for instance, he can tell me to do something, and it's like he can tell me right now, go stand on the corner and twirl a sign. And I'm going to ask him how many times he wants me to twirl it. And he always challenges us, but it's one of those things where when you have somebody who's been successful, Kevin, I know, has been successful from the agent standpoint to, like, you know, the broker, owner, trainer. A lot of times when you have somebody that's successful, mirror their practices. It's like there's no need for you to go out there and work harder and do things that aren't working, whereas you can go back to the basics and you can actually look at these people who are finding success and just mirror their business. Something else that's very important is to have an accountability partner. And that's what I found beneficial about Workplace. Workplace, I found other people that had similar mindsets as me, and I was able to actually gravitate to them. The whole birds of a feather flock together. And it was one of those things where I was able to take and gravitate to people who did business like me. This shirt right here, Random to Real Estate, this came from a good friend of mine out of Ohio. His name, or out of Georgia, actually, Carrollton, Georgia, Rhett Harmon. And you can find him on Workplace. Well, Rhett, he actually does this. And Random to Real Estate is just talking about how there's always opportunities all around us. Everything doesn't have to be about real estate. At any given time, there's always going to be somebody looking to buy, sell, upgrade, downgrade. It's always going to be opportunities. So with real estate as new agents, a lot of time our biggest mistake is we expect these opportunities just kind of fall in our lap. We expect, all right, we're going to sign up, we got our license, we're ready to go. Now we got a lead. What are we going to do with the lead? We're just expecting stuff to just fall in our lap, but instead, you have to change your thought process. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, they expect these opportunities to fall in their lap, but in reality, we actually have to go out and search for them. And if you can't find those opportunities, you actually have to create them. So the worst thing that a lot of people say is they try to set expectations on the market. They say, all right, December is going to be a slow month, or something of that nature. And essentially, it's like you get out of real estate what you put into it. I've had one of the greatest Decembers I've ever had. And it's weird me saying that because I've only experienced one full December because I'm a fairly new agent myself. But my last December as a new agent, I probably had about 15 transactions just in December alone. And that was based off of me going out and looking for those opportunities. There's always different things that we can do. And I'm sure everybody has a different background, but you have to kind of find what your strength is. And when you know what your strength is, mine is networking. I tell people all the time, I don't sell houses, I sell myself. It's like, if you want to go buy a car, you're going to go to a dealership, you're going to buy a car. It doesn't matter who's going to be there. If you want to buy a house, you're going to buy a house. It's my job to get you to use me as your agent.
Exactly. I tell agents all the time, actually, we have a pre-license class going on right now, and I share this on first day, is you look at the Sherpas of Mount Everest, right? Their job is to take people from the base of Mount Everest to the summit and back again safely. And they know all the perils that they're going to face. They've done it several times, so they can be that trusted expert on the mountain. And that's our job, right? So if we don't sell the house, we're not the buyer, we're not the seller, right? So we're that trusted expert that's going to guide the consumer from the beginning of the process to the end of the process. And like you said, we don't have the right to do that until they know us, like us, and trust us. And then we can do what we do, right? And our product is our expertise, plain and simple. So a question for you, clearly with the success that you had, getting Master Ruby in your first full year in the business in West Virginia, where you're at, you must have grown up there. Your whole life was spent there. You had this massive, massive like sphere of influence just ready to go. Right? I know the answer, right? But talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm actually, so Fawn Ward, I'm not sure if you guys can see him on the chat. I'm actually, I grew up with Fawn. We're from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is about, I'd say about 2 hours from West Virginia where I'm at. So I'm what you'd consider a transplant. I pretty much, I've come to the area, but I was able to kind of establish myself by making a name for myself. Sprint was very instrumental in me establishing who I was because everybody has a phone and I was able to kind of leverage that. But one of the biggest things that I did too to kind of get my name out here and become somebody that was known in the community was being involved with my local board of realtors. Also, something that I was able to do was actually assisting small businesses. And that's something that people take for granted. When you don't have a sphere of influence, which everybody should know what a sphere is, it's the people that you know, you like, and trust. What you do is essentially you can actually leverage it and make others people's spheres become yours. And I was able to do that in a sense that I was able to bring value to local businesses. And a lot of times I find that when I show my value to someone, they in return feel an obligation to show their value to me. So what I would do is I'd go to local businesses and, for instance, I'd let them know that I'm a realtor in the area. I come in contact with lots of individuals, lots of business professionals, people of different demographics. And essentially, I leverage that to my ability to try to use my spotlight to help them out. So how much more motivated would a business be to share something when I highlighted their business and brought attention to it on their social media? So now their friends become my friends and we're all networking. We're all intertwined. So that's something I was able to do to kind of establish myself and also just genuinely helping people. People can tell whenever you're being staged or if you're just chasing after a paycheck. And I always told myself, and this is something my broker always stressed to me. He told me, sell it like you don't need it. And if you think about it, selling it like you don't need it, what does that mean? Well, when you're selling it because you're chasing a paycheck, a lot of times we get blinded by our goal of getting a paycheck that we forget to actually focus on what's most important, which is a relationship with our client. And that relationship is what turns as referrals. So essentially, focusing on that relationship and not focusing on the transaction. If you focus on the relationships, all the transactions naturally will continue to flow in. Something I would do is I would even do stuff that agents don't even like. All right, so we all know rentals are not very rewarding. But at the same time, I use rentals to my advantage. As a new agent, I'd rather mess up with a rental that only paid me $50 to $100 than I would selling a $300,000 house. So what I would do is I would learn how to show a house, how to present a house by working with renters. So when I'd go to these properties, I had my MLS sheet. I was walking around as if I was about to sell them the most expensive house on the block. And I would give them that same service and that same quality of attention. And they just ate it up. So a lot of times now, my sphere has grown from those renters because now whenever there's a post on Facebook on Marketplace or somewhere, somebody's looking for an agent, I can almost guarantee that one of my renters is going to tag me. And I have people that I've never even sold a house that are my raving fans, that they're my hugest advocates. And they're telling everybody, hey, you don't need to use anybody but Johnny. And they've never even bought a house from me. So that just shows the power of social media and the power of actually taking care of people and treating them good, because renters turn to buyers. And I have easy lead generation stuff that I do as well. And it makes me think of the whole give a man a fish or teach a man a fish concept. So with Zillow, you're actually not receiving a fish, but you're paying for a fish. So it's like you pay for a fish or you learn how to get a fish on your own. So essentially my thought process was I, as a new agent, already for one, did not have any money. I was nervous because I actually took a leap of faith. I went out on a whim, 2-week notice, put in my 2-week notice, no money really in the bank, nothing. I just knew that I wanted to be 100% dependent of my success, because if I had my part-time job, I knew that I wouldn't work as hard because I had something to fall back on. So I wanted to make sure that failure was not going to be an option for me. So I just gave my all into going in real estate. I'm not telling anybody if you're part-time and go quit your job, because if you do, that's on you. But essentially, I'm not financially responsible for anybody to do that. But just you have to plan accordingly, and just make sure that you treat this, even if you are a part-time agent, that you treat it as a full-time job, because you want to be available for your clients. But essentially, you just want to leverage those opportunities that are around you, and you actually have to kind of focus on building those relationships. But I would do things as simple as working with my renters. So renters come to turn to buyers, and I apologize, guys, if I get distracted. I get very passionate about talking real estate. I get all over the place, but essentially, renters become buyers. So I have easy lead generation things that I do. So I would do simple posts, and anybody can write this down or go on my social media, and I'll actually put my social media stuff in the chat. But what I would do is I'd go on Facebook and make a post, and I'd just say simply, rentals available now, contact me for more information. Now, if you don't do rentals, you can do houses ranging from whatever your average price. Kevin, what's your average price?
Upper 200s.
Upper 200s. All right. So let's say you said houses available ranging from 200,000 to 250 or something like that. Just figure out what your range is, but essentially just say houses available now, contact me for more information. All I was simply doing was using that to get conversations, to get engagement. People would message me asking me for this magical list of rentals I had, when in reality, all I was doing is going in the MLS and doing a search and putting them on auto email. So you can do the same thing with houses that are for sale. It's like, just find out what your average price range is for the house and say, hey, house is available in whatever area of Tampa or whatever area you're in that county, ranging from this price to this price, and then just post it. And what happens is people will engage, and they'll ask you, what houses do you have available for 200,000? And all you simply do is go in the MLS and you do a search. So those are the things I was doing, but I leveraged it. Instead of just doing it with buyers, I did renters, because I knew renters were people who were constantly looking for something, and they also often get neglected. So when my renters would actually inquire about my rentals available now, contact me for more information, what I would do is I would then educate them, and I'd bring my value to them. I'd teach them the difference between renting and buying. I actually would pre-qualify them. I'd ask them, okay, well, what's your credit score? What's your income? Are you still working because of COVID? I'd qualify them, and I ask them these various questions. And essentially what I would do is I'd be able to scrub through them and see whether or not they were actually going to be a potential buyer, or if they were definitely going to still be a renter. Now, my thing being that I got a little more traction and I'm a little more seasoned now, even though I'm still considered new, is what I would do is I'd take the ones that were ready to buy, and then I'd take and pass the renters that were determined to rent to some of the newer agents in the office, because then they'd get that same opportunity that I got to actually go show a property, learn how to open the lock boxes, learn how to present a house, and actually get all those nervous feelings to go away. So those are things that I did, and I've had results. Right now, as we speak, I actually had a closing that's supposed to happen today, got pushed back because USDA guidelines are taking a little bit longer. But essentially, at any given time, I can pull up my phone and I have about 30 to 40 leads sitting in my inbox at any given time, just doing that simple post and never pay for a lead. So it's one of those things you got to think smarter and not harder, and just bring value to people.
All about the value. Well, let's get to some of the questions we have. We got several that came in, and I'll give the obligatory first one to your broker, since he's kind enough to allow you to come down and hang out with us here virtually. His question was, how do you manage your time balancing that between family and work?
That's something that I struggle with as a new agent, but at the same time, because as a new agent, we feel that we have to just go. Whenever somebody calls us, we feel like we have to answer a phone. Whenever somebody wants to go see a house, we feel that we have to go right away. So this is something that I learned from my broker, just from actually watching him. And it's funny because obviously we didn't discuss this, but just watching him, I learned that whenever you have an appointment, you have to focus on that appointment. And even if you have family time, you need to set that aside. Instead of telling people that, hey, I'm going on vacation, or hey, I'm going to the beach, or hey, I'm with my family right now, let them know that you're not available at that time because you have a prior arrangement or appointment, in the sense that you give them that sense that you're busy. because nobody who wants to work with somebody sits around all day waiting for their phone to ring. That means that you don't have no business. And at that point, your business is going to control you because your clients feel that you are not working with nobody but them. They feel that you're the only client, and they're going to, a lot of times they'll take advantage of that, and they'll start looking at houses that they don't even really want to buy because they feel you don't have nothing to do. They're keeping you busy. They're keeping you busy. So that's something that I learned from him. And then also just, we have a voicemail for a reason. So a lot of times, if they call, it's like, it's easy for you if you can't answer the phone right away, just to do that simple, quick response and just let them know that I can't talk right now, and then shoot them a simple text message and just remember to follow up with them. So that's something, but always make time for family and stuff, because it's so easy to get distracted and busy, and it becomes fun. To me, it became like a game where it's like, okay, how many can I get ratified this month? Or how many transactions, how many contacts or communications can I have? And it becomes one of those things where if you're not careful, you easily can get distracted, and you don't want it to take and affect your family life.
So talk me through your decision process of, why did you choose Century 21 versus the other, independent boutiques or brands that are available in your market?
Honestly, that's a very interesting question for me, because I never interviewed any brokerages. And in all reality, to be 100% honest, I didn't even come to my office for Century 21. I came from my broker because of his reputation. It just was a bonus with Century 21. So essentially, I came to the office because of him. But then in turn, I learned the benefits of Century 21, and I'm a huge advocate of it because of the training. It's like we have an abundance of training that's available. And then just how global we are, and I guess the camaraderie that's there, and all the accountability. There's so much stuff that's available that people pay thousands of dollars for. It's like I was able to actually hop on a workplace. I'm not sure if you guys saw that opportunity with Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry was actually on Workplace, and there was a conference in which we can talk to him. And I had the privilege of hanging out with Tom Ferry in Los Angeles back in February. So that was an added bonus for me to be able to actually kind of see him come to our home court, so to speak. But not only that, Century 21, I'm just a fan of how everybody just works together, and they're just willing to kind of help and chime in. I've now been invited by Kevin to come down and visit that area, and different brokerages have extended those invitations, and we all can share information. Just like how I said, it's like, I'm gonna put my Instagram and my Facebook on there. You can go on there, you can take anything you want. It's like, it doesn't bother me, because essentially I don't compete with people. And that's something also that as a new agent, you guys have to keep in mind, is like, don't worry about what other agents are doing, or don't compare yourself to other people, because as new agents, that's something easy for us to do. Well, this person started before or after I did, and they already did transactions. Well, it doesn't matter. It's like, we're our own individual business owners. It's like, don't ever compare yourself, because there's things that you can do that will make you stand out differently. And the only person you should be in competition with is yourself. It's like, you should always think of how you can get better or more proficient or smoother with your transactions. Just try to stay consistent. And going to consistency, that's something as well, because a lot of times with real estate, we'll try something and we don't get results right away, and we're quick to move on and say, oh, that didn't work. Well, with real estate, as we all know, you don't get paid till 30 to 45 days after you do something. So it's like, you have to be consistent. It's like, if you're looking for instant gratification, you're in the wrong business. It's like, there's nothing instant about real estate.
Wait, it's not like HGTV. I do 3 showings and I get a closing?
Oh, no, nope.
Oh,
you're not going to have
man.
that salamander breeder come by your $500,000 house. Yeah, you have to be consistent. Everything is just consistency. And honestly, it's like, always tweak things as well. It's like, if you see something that's not working, still try to stay within that same realm of doing what you're doing, but try to do it slightly different until you get results. It's like fine-tuning your business.
So a couple of questions, we can kind of merge them together here. Like, what would be your advice to a brand new agent, or someone's about to take their state test? We got a couple that actually just graduated our 63-hour class, our pre-license class last week. What would be like your top 3 or 4 things that they should do as soon as they sign up with a brokerage and get started in real estate? What would those 3 tactical checklist things to get going so they could hopefully emulate some of your success.
Okay. All right. So the first thing that I would do is you want to introduce yourself to the world pretty much. It's like make contacts, whether you're going to local businesses. Um, it's like go to the local businesses and hand out your cards. My broker had this thing where he tried to have us hand out 250 cards within our first month. And if you can't do 250, try to double it, do 500. Because it's like you always want to kind of set those expectations and the bar higher. But essentially, make as many contacts as you can. And even as you're transitioning, as a new agent, most likely, if you just did your license, you may not have quit your job yet, that you were working full time. So something I did is I already started letting people know, because then I build up my sphere. I already had people knowing that I was going to transition into real estate. And I was like the post-it note king. Like I had post-it notes all over the place. But essentially, I would take and write down their name and what they were looking for, and just making those connections. Because if you already start letting people know, and then also think about your family and your friends, like you need to start getting advocates for you. I have accountability partners, and I have people that actually share my content, and I can always depend on them, show love. Sean Smith, for instance, he's with Pearson Smith right now. Which is a brokerage up here. And it's like I can count on Sean every time I post something that he's going to show some love to it. That's something that you should do, is like have people that you know will do it. And even if you're not telling people to like and share your stuff, you can essentially text message them. It's like your family, your friends, and say, hey, I just post something. Can you share it for me? And then that way you're getting more eyes on your stuff. But just also just make many connections from social media, in the sense that something I did, and some people may be against this, but everything I do on my Facebook is public. I don't do the private behind the scene posts where only people that are my friends can see it, only because I want people to actually get to know me. I want to be as relatable as possible. So the biggest thing I do is I just make sure that I'm very transparent and people actually know who I am. It makes you think of like your favorite weatherman or anchorman. When you're looking at them on TV, after a while, you get to know them. You get to know like their favorite colors based on what they're always wearing on TV. You get to see what cup they're holding, whether they stop at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning or whatever the case is. I want people to actually get to know me, and it makes me more relatable. Also, do not fail to utilize like Facebook Live and stuff like that. And don't worry about if you mess up. Don't worry about if you stumble over your words. I have all kind of funny memories and occasions that have happened to me on Facebook Live, walking in houses and bumping my head on stuff because the wall was too low or stuff like that. But it's like you have fun with it. You just acknowledge that we're imperfect and we make mistakes, but we're relatable. And I think that makes people feel comfortable, and they'll gravitate to you because they see you as being someone real. They're already nervous when they're doing this transaction, because they think that as real estate professionals, that for one, they don't know if they qualify, or they think that you might be comparing them, or like maybe if they want to see many houses, they think that they're inconveniencing you or burdening. But you want to kind of help them come to have ease and to feel comfortable around you. So those are some of the things I did. I know you asked for 3. I'm trying to think what else. There's just so many different things. Just be yourself, be original. It's like step outside of your comfort zone, but don't be over the top. Don't do something that's not you, because people recognize if you're being fake.
Well, I actually got 3. I got introduce yourself to the world, ask your friends and family to share your social content, and be authentic and genuine. Mm-hmm. So there you go. You got your man. And that's truly like, I actually doing a post license class, and I was talking to them about video, and typical, everybody raise their hand. They're not comfortable doing video. And they're like, why? What if I make a mistake? I'm like, are you perfect in life? Right. Who was it? Jared James said it at FLA 21 a couple of years ago, that unless you're living under, a sheet every day in your bed and never going out and never interacting with people, how you look and sound in video is exactly how you look and sound in real life. So get over it, get yourself out there. If you stumble your words, just keep going through it. And the best way to get over that is doing those Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, where you don't have that opportunity to go, I'm just going to stop and redo that or give up, right? Because you're live. You have to continue on. It's a great way to get over that shyness, that stuff.
Yep, and you can practice in the mirror too. That's something that you can do. Practice in the mirror. Or honestly, I'll go around. I have a little slogan I used to do for my real estate videos. At the end, I'd say, "I'm here to make a difference, building relationships one home at a time." And I said it so much that my son walks around and he'd say it. "I'm here to make a difference, building relationships one home at a time." So it's one of those things where if you're consistent and you just practice, like if you're in the car, just talk out loud. It's like talk out loud and think of things that you can do to bring value. If you're going to a new restaurant or somewhere, go on Facebook Live and just say, "Hey guys, I'm outside of Joe's Pizza Shop, right here at whatever location. I'm gonna go try their pizza. I'll comment below in the comments how it was." Something like that, just something simple. And what happens, those little gradual tidbits, they become longer, and it's engaging. Also, something a lot of people make mistakes about is like you think that people have to be watching when you go on Facebook Live. The biggest thing a lot of agents do is they'll go on Facebook Live and they're just sitting there in silence. They're waiting for followers to get on. Don't do that. Just start talking, because what happens is they're going to catch up on it. Whereas if I'm scrolling on your Facebook Live and I'm just seeing silence, I'm gonna think that you accidentally hit it. So I'm gonna just click off. So you want to just make sure that it's like just put that content out there and just be consistent.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for those in Central Florida, go out and view new home communities. Look at like Arohi. She's not able to be with us today, but that's one thing she does constantly. You will always see her on Facebook or Instagram Live, and she's touring a new home community. New home construction. Our inventory dropped 22% year over year last month. Our sales are up. So we've got a problem, right? Record low shortage of homes in Florida. So where do we have to go? New homes, right? So get out there and highlight, get to know the builders, go interview a builder, right? There's all kinds of cool things that you can do to take advantage of being able to generate that content, stay live, be you, and show yourself as a local expert. Johnny, have you ever heard of Kyle Whistle?
No.
So check out Kyle Whistle. Everybody on here, Kyle,
Okay.
Whissel. I love to tell his story. He's out in California, but he started with video, and he lives in a little town called Santee, California, just outside of San Diego and East County. And when he first got started, he was doing these videos where he was highlighting local businesses, kind of doing what you talk about. And it was one a week, Santee Saturdays. That's kind of what he did. And go look at Santee Saturday episode 1, about episode 50, and then episode 100 to see like the progression that he took and quality. And right, the first one you're like going, okay, that was on an iPhone on a tripod, right? Like that was nothing else. Well, they ran out of businesses, so they transitioned to East County Eats because the best videos were of restaurants. And then they ran out of restaurants in East County, so now it's just everything East County. But they do a video every week and just highlighting local businesses, promoting those local businesses. So like you said, right, you're building value and referring customers to them, then those businesses feel that reciprocity and will give back to you. He sold his largest house, or most expensive house, $4 million house for the chamber president, because the chamber president was just so proud of what his company was doing for local businesses. Wow. And all of that cost him nothing. What a great idea.
I have a question if I could, if that's okay.
Caesar, go ahead.
All right. Well, hello, my name is Caesar. Nice to meet you, Johnny. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Kevin, for setting all this up. I guess my question is going back earlier, we were talking about, not reinventing the wheel and copying people who are successful and using those skills, and you even being open for people to, adopt those skills. How do you know when, because everybody calls themselves a professional. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I'm saying like, but there are some people that maybe aren't that skilled. So as a new associate or like starting off, how do you decipher between people like maybe I shouldn't learn that? Because everybody is like, posting a lot of information and there's just so much. How do you filter through like quality information versus just noise as a new associate? Just because everything's like, what do I attach to? And
a big shout out real quick to Caesar. He just passed his pre-license class on Friday and had the high score of the class. So he's getting ready for a state exam right now, but one of the highest scores we've ever had. So kudos.
Wow,
sorry,
congrats.
Johnny.
Yeah, congratulations, Caesar. Yeah, so the
Makes
biggest
sense.
thing that I do to kind of discern is a lot of, and you're right, a lot of agents just are talk, and that's just the real reality of it. A lot of agents, they talk about their numbers, they talk about I did this, I don't talk about I did that. There's several groups I'm in on Facebook. There's one called Real Estate Mastermind, and you can tell the agents that talk a lot and they really aren't doing anything. But it's simple. It's like you can literally look up that agent and you can see their numbers. You can see what they're really doing. And that's what I tend to do. And it's like when you're trained properly, and you're using the resources that your brokerage provides, the resources Century 21 provides, and even like just locally what you're learning on your own, it's easier for you to discern a good agent from a bad agent. It's like when you know what's right, it's like it's easy. Things pop out. Like for instance, contracts. When you're learning contracts and you actually master that contract, I do it all the time. I can see a experienced agent send me an offer, and I can just scroll through and I can find a fault in it because it's like you familiarize yourself. And that's the thing about it, it's repetition. So after learning from more experienced agents, and it's like you will be able to discern who are the good agents to follow and rep you. I guess to duplicate like their business practices is easier to find them by how they carry themselves. It's like me personally, I always try to keep a professionalism to myself. So I like to have fun, but essentially it's like you want to keep it professional and you also want to make sure that you're a good reflection of your brand. So in doing that, those are the type of agents I tend to gravitate to. Also, it's like I was saying earlier, everybody pretty much has a skill or something that they're good at. It's like for instance, my thing is networking, and I love working my sphere. So what I'll do is I'll find agents that do something similar. Whether and it's like on that group Real Estate Mastermind, I actually made a post. I said, who here thinks relationships are very important as far as building with your clients, or just I put little fillers out just to see who would take the bait. And those are the people that I friend request. Those are the ones that I knew were like-minded. Those are the ones that I knew did similar things to me. Sean Smith or Fawn Ward or even my broker Rick, we all have very similar mindsets. And that's because it's like we gravitate together because when we talk about different things, such as relationships, you can tell what people are about by what they say out of they say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you can tell what people think about based on what they say. And it's like some agents, they only talk about, all right, money, money, money. That's all they talk about. Whereas the agents that talk about their actual relationship and they have that passion for it, those are the ones that I tend to gravitate to. Because yeah, you can make money, but how much more money would you make if you had an actual referral system and you had clients that actually were raving fans and you actually wowed them? You know how many agents or how many clients say that after the transaction, they never hear from their agent again? It's like my broker says all the time that the average value of a client is about $50,000 over the life of their customer. And that's from the referrals and stuff that they give you. So essentially, it's like I cultivate relationships with my clients and I don't look at them as paychecks. So those are the type of people that I gravitate to as far as agents, the ones that are actually bringing value to their clients, the ones that are actually doing things in a manner in which they show that they're not just about a paycheck. And that's what I find value. Obviously, we want to make money, but it's like if you're only in it just to get paid and not actually to bring value, your success is going to be here. But if you actually worry about the relationships, it's going to take it up to another level. So those are the things that I try to focus on. I hope that was answering your question. I didn't get too sidetracked.
You're a fountain of great information. How'd that do,
Yeah, it was
Caesar?
great. No, it was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Feel
you.
free. I'm gonna put my social media stuff on in the chat. So for my Instagram, it's just call J Knight, and then my Facebook business page is @call J Knight. And feel free, guys, if you see anything you like on there, feel free to inbox me or ask me how I did that or how I got results. Because honestly, it's like that's the thing about it. It's like you don't look at each other as competition. It's like, but rather, it's like there's enough business for us all to eat. So that's why it's like it's easy. There's no secrets in real estate. I always just tell everybody everything. And it's one of those things where it's like I can be in a room full of 100 people and I can tell everybody the same things that I'm doing to get success. And honestly, only probably 5 people are going to do it. So it's all about implementing the stuff that you take in. A lot of times it's like we all know what we should do. It's just a matter of doing it, and doing it a lot of times is taking us out of our comfort zone. So a lot of times that's just something we have to do. We have to actually do something that makes us uncomfortable in order to find success.
We got a couple questions in the chat. Lucena asks, what's your best advice for a new agent starting out in a pandemic, only virtual training going on and social distancing happening? So not sure how it is up there. I mean, obviously here we have some restrictions. We're still able to do what we want, but we don't have the classroom-based training right now because of social distancing and guidelines. So what's your advice to an agent like, coming up in this market right now?
The biggest thing right now is just keep posting on social. Social media is where everybody has their eyes on. People are at home. That's all they're doing. They're scrolling on their phone. They're looking at their Facebook, their Instagram, their Twitter, and that's where everybody is. So I would utilize that in the sense of just being consistent and just posting information on there. That's one of the biggest things. Just bring value. It's like, it doesn't have to be stuff about real estate necessarily. It could be stuff about like doing maintenance around the house, or it could be stuff about a new restaurant that just opened down the street. It's like, bring value in that sense and just post it on your social. And those are the things that are going to help you propel your business and actually get more eyes on you. It could be little things. I had an app that I used to use called Canva. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with Canva, but Canva, you can actually put your brand colors on there. You can upload your logos, everything, and feel free. It's like, again, you're not reinventing the wheel, and it's not plagiarism. But if you see something that somebody does that you like, take it, make it yours. It's like, take and redesign a flyer or a layout or something that's engaging and post it, and just watch the results come in. So those are things that you can do. As far as training, 21 Online is awesome. Kevin's training is awesome. You guys have a lot of stuff and a lot of resources. So just pick and choose and just become your own agent. It's like, you're not going to be able to exactly, or you're not going to be able to clone another agent. But what you do is you take pieces of each agent that you like following and just make yourself. It's like, pretty much you reinvent yourself, and you take a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person. Something else that my broker does is he actually has mentors for us. So we can take seasoned agents and they'll be able to assist us. So we can actually reach out to them for guidance, or they can actually let us take them, or they'll allow us to accommodate them on listing appointments and stuff, so we can actually see them and we can hear the verbiage that they have. There's a lot of other things too. It's like your broker. All listings belong to the broker. And it's like, what agent is going to be mad for you bringing them a buyer? So it's like, use that to your advantage. It's like, you may not have inventory as a new agent. Well, yeah, you do. Your broker has inventory. So use that inventory to actually get leads and to try to sell those properties.
Yep, exactly. Jackie asked, new to my area, so kind of like you were, and her sphere is tiny. So any additional advice other than, just getting out there and building those local business connections and leveraging that sphere? I mean, leveraging your friends and family. What other thoughts do you have for someone in that situation?
So trying to leverage and grow your sphere. And I apologize. I had somebody detailing a vehicle and he just knocked on my door. Give me 1 second.
And no worries. So if you have questions, go ahead, because we'll be wrapping up here soon. So if you have any pressing questions, make sure you get those in the chat box.
Yes. So just right now it's trying times for us being in a pandemic, because not like we can actually go out and do too much stuff, and we're being cautious and stuff. But I'm just trying to get your name out there. I'd say follow local businesses. It's like, when it comes to like your local handyman, and it's like your people that do roofing and contractors and stuff, just make them part of your sphere, in the sense that it's like, you will go like their business page and start sharing their content, because those people, they notice, and then they'll start sharing your stuff. So that's a way of kind of getting your name out there. But something else you could do once we ever have like guidelines lifted is do a open house. Open houses, it's like, in my opinion, open houses don't sell houses. They get you leads. it's like they get leads because most people, when they go to open house, they don't want to buy that house. Some people are just nosy neighbors. But in my opinion, I don't feel open houses sell houses, but rather they get you exposure. People want to come get free stuff. It just depends. So it's like I never was big on doing that type of open house, but something I did do, and I had probably one of the largest in the area, was a broker open house. Now there's a difference between a broker open house and just a regular public open house. And what I did for that broker open house is I invited local agents, and that was my way of letting them know who I was. So I did that, but then also it's like you can just kind of go to local businesses as well and just bring value. Like I said, it's like this is something I did. So there's little shops. There's this thing called Lele's Lemonade. This little girl sells lemonade. There's another one called Flavor Dave. He sells fried chicken. So what I did is I went to these little small businesses, and I actually, not only did I try their product, but also I actually purchased an extra one. So for instance, for Flavor Dave, he sells these chicken boxes, so to speak. And I bought one for myself that I ate, but then I bought one and I didn't pick it up. I told him I wanted him to do a giveaway. And the giveaway that he did wasn't off of my page, but I wanted him to present it however he felt comfortable. But I wanted him to acknowledge that it was something that was courtesy of me. So what he did is he did this like and share type page or post, and he actually had brought exposure to my business by me being the procuring calls of like the giveaway, so to speak. So those are things I did. There's so many different, you just gotta get creative, honestly.
Yep. Always thinking outside the box, right? That's what you got to do. It works. All right. Well, we've had some great content. I mean, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
I
have a question that was sent to me. All right. So the question, I'm gonna just read it out. It says, is it true that looks matter, your car, your attire, etc., when meeting a prospective client? I'd say yes, only because it's like you're selling them one of the biggest transactions of their lives. This one of the biggest investments they're going to make, and essentially it's like you don't want to look sloppy. I'm not saying you have to dress up. Like as a new agent, when I first got into the business, I'd go dressed up in a suit, and then I realized that I'm selling to people here in West Virginia that's out in the country in the boondocks, and I'm dressed in a suit, so that could be intimidating. So essentially, it's like you have to just kind of adapt to, I guess, you got to adapt to your client. It's like if I'm showing a $500,000 house, I'm probably going to dress up. If I'm selling a double wide on a permanent foundation that's $75,000, I'm not going to dress up as much, but I'm still going to keep the professionalism to myself. And just, it's like first impressions are everything. It's like, so you just have to be conscious of that. And just kind of keep in mind that you are who you portray yourself to be. It's like clients, they don't know you until they meet you. So it's intimidating for everybody, but you don't want to actually, I guess you don't want to overdo it. You want to make them feel at ease. It's like you want to make them feel comfortable with you. So I guess it's like me personally, a lot of my business comes off of social. So I have the advantage of actually kind of digging, and I'll look through their pictures and see what type of person they are. Or I'll kind of get an idea as to what they're about and what they do. And I'll judge that accordingly, but you be adaptable. Same thing with listing appointments. Some listing appointments you can go to, you need to bring a book for a CMA. But others, it's like you can go to and it's like they're straight to the point. And it's like they just want to know what they're going to make. They don't care how you get there. They just want to know what you're going to sell it for. So it's like you just have to be adaptable, and just keep in mind that it's like clients are like kids. It's like anybody that have kids, you know that it's like you're not going to raise all your kids exactly the same. So same thing with clients. It's like you have to be adaptable, and each one may need different amount of attention. So it's like you just have to adjust accordingly and just feel where it works best for you.
I'll add to that, just no matter what you do, be authentically you, right? So that's so important, because if you try to fake and put on airs that you're not, put on something you're not, they're going to see right through that. It's going to come through as not genuine, not authentic, and you're not going to earn their trust. So regardless, just be you. Like, people know me by now. I have about 20 of these polo shirts. you know, and I'm a jeans and polo shirt guy. I wore suits for 17 years in hotels. I'm not putting on a damn tie unless it's a funeral. And even that, it's questionable, right? And this is how I've been, right? And, you know, it's true that you are judged. So as long as you're just presented clean, you come across organized, professional, you'll be fine, right? And I'm not sure who asked that question, but don't worry about it. Just be authentically you, and the people who like you will do business with you, and that's what matters. And the people that would not do business with you for whatever their stupid reason, don't worry about those people. Don't worry about what other people think. You just be you, and you'll succeed.
Yep. And you got to keep in mind too, you can't help everybody. It's like, I used to get disheartened when I'd lose a client, and I realized that they weren't the client for me. So it's like, you can't help everybody. And it's like, you do what you can, and if it's out of your control, it's like, just move on to the next one. Another question that was asked is, do you recommend focusing on the area you live? Yes, 100%, because those are the people that know you, like you, trust you. Those are the people that see you, and that's where you're most familiar. The biggest mistake I find that a lot of new agents do, now you guys are in Florida, so it's huge for you guys, but I'm about 20 minutes from Virginia, 20 minutes from Maryland, about maybe 30 minutes from Pennsylvania. A lot of new agents, they want to go get licensed in multiple states. That's something that I don't encourage people to do, because you want to get familiar with the area that you're actually working in, because it's like, and just to kind of put it so it's relatable to you guys, since Florida's so big, it's like counties. It's like specialize in certain counties that you're familiar with. Because if you don't know that area, if you don't know what's going across the street, it's like you can't fully service your clients. It's like you have to be very familiar with your area, and it's like there's opportunities all around us. Like I said, there's always opportunities that you can create. So me personally, I focus on where I'm comfortable. And if you're not comfortable with an area too, it's like, that's why we have a referral system. It's like, I'd give somebody a name and get 25% referral fee just for giving them a name. So it's like, any money is better than no money. So just keep that mindset, that focus on where you're most comfortable and where you know people, because as a new agent too, it's like, that's when you can get yourself in trouble too, because if you go somewhere that you're not familiar with and you're trying to sell real estate, do you fully know that area? Do you fully know that community, or are you just making up stuff as you go?
Yep. And one thing I also tell agents, especially newly licensed ones, is you may have a smaller sphere where you're at, but maybe you're relocated from somewhere else. Chances are you have a larger sphere somewhere or everywhere when it comes to social media. So making sure that constantly on social media, you are telling all of your connections, if you know someone who is looking to buy, sell, or rent sometime in the future, which is everyone, their first call needs to be to me, because I work for the most respected, well-known brand in the world called Century 21. We're in 88 countries. We have 130,000 agents. I will go find you the top rated customer service wise agent in that market and connect you with them. And then you're earning that referral fee. I love to tell the story of one of my old coworkers from Hilton called me and said, Kevin, my grandmother's house in this little town, I don't even remember the name now. It was somewhere in Virginia, but Western Virginia. I couldn't even find the closest Century 21 was an hour and a half away. But I went on Workplace. I posted in the referral group, I need an agent that works this town. Within 2 minutes, Brian Pitt says, you need to call this office manager at this office. I call that office, and she's like, oh, we have an agent that lives in that little town, focuses, she grew up there. She probably knew your friend's grandmother. Hold on, let me get you her number. Within 30 minutes of my post, my friend was connected with this agent, and he went on and bought the house. So, I mean, this is a town, I want to say they may have had 2,000 people in it. This is a small town in the middle of Western Virginia. So, again, I earn a referral fee for 30 minutes worth of work.
Exactly.
So if you work those, you get 3 of those a month. That's basically the commission of one sale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, any other questions? Well, Johnny, this was a good chat. For everyone, I got to finally meet Johnny in Los Angeles when we went for 121. And for those that are with our office or with another Century 21 or contemplating joining a Century 21 office, let me tell you, there is no better event in the world than 121, especially next year. I hope we can have it, with COVID, but it's the 50th anniversary of Century 21. So they are pulling out all the stops in Las Vegas. So real quick, just for those that haven't had the opportunity to attend a 121 style event, what was your favorite part? Like, wasn't that your first one?
So my first one was in Las Vegas last year.
Okay.
And then, so I just did this now. In both of them, so for Las Vegas, I was actually a part of the social squad for social media for Century 21. So I actually had like a camera crew that would follow me around and a couple other agents and just did highlights.
True, yeah, you're right.
I was a panelist for Los Angeles on lead generation. But my biggest thing was just being able to be in the presence of like-minded individuals, other top producers and other top agents. And honestly, even as a new agent, when I first went to Vegas, I was a new agent. It's like I didn't even really do any transactions at that point. It's like I was amongst all these Centurion receivers and all these award winners, and I had only maybe did like 4 transactions at that time. But just being around those people and just actually seeing how relatable they are and actually making these connections with people that were doing exactly what I was doing all along, it convinced me that I was on the right path. But I just enjoyed just meeting different ones, the interactions, the learning that was available there. There's just so many opportunities. And then also the fact that I would actually meet some of these people that I would later on go to refer business to.
Yeah. And for those that are like, you watch Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry, any of the big Jared James, like they were walking around just hanging out with us. So that was, really cool. You're like, oh, damn, there's Tom Ferry right there. Let me go chat with him, right? I got a picture with Mike Ferry. So, and then you're also getting all the leadership, and if you're involved and plugged in, like you said, you're going to walk around like, oh my God, you just, because of workplace, you feel like you know the person. And it's kind of funny to watch because when they come up, you're like, hey, I know you. You're like, okay, great. My photo looks like me. And then there was a couple that they're like, hey, Kevin, I'm so-and-so. I'm like, oh, you are? Oh, wow. Okay. So make sure your photo's up to date. But you get to know people, right? And through workplace, and then it's so nice, like a homecoming, and then the parties and the speakers and like you said, the learning opportunities, and a lot of the learning opportunities that were like you talked about, they're panels. So it's not just some person, some schmuck up in the front row talking to you. It's 3 or 4 or 6 people who have accomplished what the topic is that you're wanting to learn about. Or a lot of the other sessions were people who have done it and now have done it so well, like Jerry Sabusky, for those that don't know him, North Fork guy, him up there talking about his marketing and what he does. So it's just a great event. If you can do it, I suggest that you attend for sure. So excellent. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for investing in you, right? Because that's something you need to do each and every day. Time block time to learn and to grow, whether it's a call like this or a virtual session or a video, a YouTube, an audio book. Make sure you're investing in you. So thank you to each of you, whether you're with us or not with us or not, no matter. I appreciate you investing in you to be a better agent, a better professional. And to Johnny, my friend, thank you so much for taking time out of your tremendously busy schedule to, share some of your knowledge and experience to help others learn and to help others grow and to give back to our community and inspire people to achieve the success that you've had. I think I can speak on behalf of everyone here. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for the opportunity.